Disclaimer. This podcast showcases business partners and friends that engage in lively conversations about books over many drinks. Content may not be suitable for viewers under 21.
Good one.
Holy smokes. Yes. Kev!
Here.
It's done.
I think I can figure it out.
I mean, he loves outtakes.
I can't figure it out.
Well, then come sit back down.
I gotta pee.
Oh, okay. Then just go pee. Just take the mic off. Bunny tails.
Yeah, we don't want that.
Welcome to another episode of Books and Booze. Cheers.
I'm Leilani.
And I am Kristen. And we created this podcast to take you on a journey with us of literature and libations because business can be fun.
It's fun.
It is fun. And it should be, it's important, it's serious, but it also can be really enjoyable.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with having a cocktail, having some great conversation about business and the things that you want to do and develop in your industry.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So grab a good book.
Get some great booze.
And grab a good buddy to share it with. And here we are.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for joining us today. My goodness. Tower Vodka, guys. We don't know a lot about it. We're still waiting on the deets.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we know it's out of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
We know it's like 6 times distilled.
Yep. And the rumor mill is it might be
Somebody left a certain
tea toast.
something like that. But we're waiting for facts. We would love facts.
Yes.
But anyways, until then, we have pretty much depleted the bottle because this is vodka sodas today.
Oh, yeah. No, the bottle will be gone because this is the end of the book.
So, and then still my basil tree. At some point, we'll have to go outside. We'll do episodes outside. You know, spring is here, summer's coming. And you will see my basil tree at some point.
Secretly envious. I love our basil tree.
It just keeps growing. Love it. And then what an amazing book. Sarah, thank you so much for introducing Brené to us.
Yes.
And really just, Brené, thank you for an incredible book. It's a little bit, I want to use the word uncomfortable because you basically are looking in a mirror as you're reading.
Oh, yeah. It's very uncomfortable. There's parts of the book where I started thinking, what am I doing reading this? And that's just my self-defense mechanism that threw up signs saying, stop, 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 and really just, kept going, and then it really started tying together everything.
It did. And, a lot of businesses are really embracing Brené finally, which I think is great. I've been in corporate world for so long and seeing the evolution happening where we're accepting and it's okay to make mistakes and your results don't define you. Yeah. All these things, and I was thinking as I was reading these last few pages, I was like, we're helping people launch their own business. And a successful business really should grow to a point where you're ready to begin employing other people too. Yeah. So some of the things that she writes in here, and especially these, chapters 5 and 6, dig into really how can some leadership perspectives. Yeah. And when you're responsible for employees that you hire in as well. So you're looking at vulnerability through a lens of yourself and getting that confidence to launch your own business and the shields we hide behind. Yeah. But you're going to be responsible for people. Yeah,
you will. The definition of a true leader is being responsible for others.
Taking care of people. Yeah, absolutely. So chapter 5, she calls Mind the Gap.
Yeah. And that was cute.
Loved this because the concept was, I guess, is that space between where you're at and where you want to go. Yeah. And she referenced, I think, a train or something like that. That dangerous little pit that, you're a parent taking your child onto the train. You almost want to carry them because you're just terrified that their little feet are going to fall into there.
Right through, right? In New York, I remember being on vacation This is years ago. My oldest was only 5 years old at the time. And we're in New York, and I remember on the train, and there was literally a guy that when the train was stopping, he would yell out, mind the gap, or watch the gap.
Wow.
Right, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
But he would only be on certain sections that he would do it because he knew it was a pretty wide gap, and I guess people have fallen through there multiple times and broken things and stuff like that. So when she said it, I was giggling. I was like, yeah,
right?
Mind the gap.
Been there. But she really calls this part really the strategy piece of it.
Yeah.
Because it's your game plan.
Yeah.
It's, okay, here I am on the ledge, waiting for the train, my business, or what I want to accomplish in life, or what I want to accomplish in my industry, or what I want to change, what have you, is the train. And how are you going to get on the train? What are the steps to get you there?
Yeah.
And she brings in the concept of culture. And this is where I think, so many of our podcasts, we talk about how to help you launch your business and those steps. But I think this one could almost lean a little bit to those that are launching their business and wanting to bring people in with them right off the bat.
You're recruiting your sales folks, or
right. I think about our friends that are opening, restaurants and things like that, and you can't open with just you.
I mean, you could, but.
To be successful, you're bringing in a team of people.
Most restaurants, you're bringing in, you're going to have your cooks, you're going to have your hostess, your servers, you're going to have your, the person who's the manager of the restaurant.
Yes, absolutely. And hospitality too, right? We know some folks getting into bed and breakfast, restaurant, and not restaurants, sorry.
Have another.
In that pregame, here we go. Hotels and things like that.
Yeah.
So, when you're responsible for other people, what you create in your business, and I think this is why I've been saying, I think it's a couple months now, I've been saying the future is small business.
Yeah, really.
Because I really feel there's a tipping point coming.
Oh yeah, I feel it too.
Oh, there are so many people restless and frustrated. There's an awakening. And people have an idea of how they want things done. So if you're listening and you're like, I wish this for my industry, or I wish this for my profession, or I wish this for life in general. And you're like, you know what? I'm good at this. I'm starting my business, and I am going to change. I'm going to make change.
Yeah.
And you know what? You will.
Yeah, you most definitely will.
You absolutely will.
I think the pandemic had such a huge effect on just the way the culture.
Tremendous.
How people, I think when we as a society kept ourselves so busy that we locked ourselves in boxes, right? And that would be like the corporate cubicle, right? But when the pandemic happened and the whole world shut down, all of us had to go and lock ourselves in our houses, which is a different culture, okay? And some flourished, right?
Sure.
And we were like, man,
I learned how to make naan bread.
Oh yeah, but you had a great time being home with your husband, being with your kids.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
A lot of families have that disconnect where you're not on the same schedule, right? You're on opposite schedules, and so you're not seeing each other as much as you would like to. Well, the pandemic gave you the first taste of what it was like to be
together, to control of your time.
And so now, the world is open back up and saying, hey, you got to go back into the offices. You need to go back into those cubicles in the box, right? And there's resistance. And they're saying, I don't know if we're wanting to exchange our experience and time for money at this point. We actually want to do
what I want to do.
Yeah.
Well, and I think also you had these people who were so loyal to companies that they worked for maybe even decades.
Yeah.
And these businesses, to keep themselves afloat, had no choice but to say, I'm sorry, you're temporarily laid off, right? And, when you own your own business and you're looking at black and white numbers, that feels very cold to do. And that didn't feel good because I know people that were on the other end of that. But thankfully, businesses who did it the right way, were able to reopen and bring people back in.
Yeah.
But I think that also shook people's loyalties a little.
In our business, we have a 4-3 schedule, okay? And the 4-3 schedule has been going on for over 10 years. And I implemented it due to research that was done out in Sweden that said that team members were more productive on a 4-3 schedule because they were able to have a better work-life balance with their family and their job. Now, the ironic part is 10 years later, pandemic later, we're seeing that shift.
Yep.
We're seeing that shift where the corporations are coming
looking for how
can we balance this?
Yep.
Because guess what? The C-suite executives were locked in at home too.
Absolutely. So she goes through different ways that you can learn about kind of the culture of something. I'm going to force the translation, culture of a business by a few things here. So whether you're already working at a corporation or you're launching your own business and you're going to be responsible for the people you hire in, that was more the lens that I read some of these through. So the first one is what behaviors are being rewarded or punished. And keep in mind, this is coming through the lens of vulnerability and courage, So when we have certain behaviors rewarded versus punished, are we really celebrating the person's efforts or are we trying to teach them that their results represent them?
Yeah.
And that can be very frustrating. I mean, you got to deliver. Like if you hire somebody to do sales, they have to deliver. And so how do you have those accountability conversations? But also growth. Like there's something to be said about celebrating growth. Okay, you achieved this month. You got better by this month. That's amazing. How did you get better?
Yeah.
And we as humans, I think, tend to respond better to that versus this is your quota.
Yeah. You didn't meet your numbers. Something's wrong with you.
Something's wrong, right? So that was the first one. The second is where and how are people spending kind of their resources and their time and their money?
Yeah.
And I think when you're launching a business, if it's not something that's critical to the business right away, it's almost something you need to just pause on. For sure.
If you're launching your business, one of the first things is going to be sales.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's going to be the first thing. We've covered already a few books that talk about strategizing around that. But yeah.
Yep.
So
your relationship with your customer.
Yeah.
First and foremost. Yep. And all the time. What rules and expectations are followed? Do people feel safe and supported based on how they're treated? And I think that's where I think a lot of the shift is coming as well. Oh, we have a friend visiting.
Petey the Fly.
Petey the Fly, our biggest fan. But yeah, how do you treat people within your space? I think that's huge. What rules and expectations are followed? And then do you follow the same rules and expectations that you push down to your team?
Yeah, because it's one thing if you're telling them to do it, and the other
you're
thing,
doing something different.
You're doing something different. Yeah.
I think about, Kevin worked at this local bar when we lived down in Key West, and the expectation was that obviously the bartenders wouldn't drink at all, but the bar manager would just come in and sit behind the bar and throw them down all the time. And it was just like,
being a hypocrite. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So sometimes people, we launch our own business and we get excited about things and we're in control of things. But if we have expectations for our people, when we're with our people, how do we uphold those?
You have to be the role model.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, she lists several others, but those were the ones I feel like really, stood out. Oh, the vulnerability one, right? How is vulnerability perceived? Uncertainty and risk. Like, does your team feel comfortable coming to you and saying, I'm not sure how to do this?
Yeah, that was a big one for me because, that whole open door policy they put the corporation, my door is open. Okay. And that doesn't mean that you're receptive to my ideas. It doesn't mean that you're actually willing to listen if I have a solution to a problem. Right. And so when she was pointing out about the vulnerability in the workspace, do they feel, it really boils down to trust, right? Do they trust they can be vulnerable with you? Can they approach you with a problem, whether it's business or personally,
Sure.
I mean, that's huge.
Oh my goodness, right? Something happens epically in your personal life. Can your employees come to you and be like, look, this happened. It sucks. It makes me not the ideal employee for the next few weeks or months. How do you handle that?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, every organization needs to know this about their employees. I definitely, for the longest time, I used to say, no, I separate personal and business, and it's a bunch of crock. right? Because they all run over into each other, right? And the same thing goes for everyone in an organization. Anyone who says, no, I completely separate business and pleasure, or business and personal, I'm sorry, they're not, I don't think they're aware that they're not actually doing that, you know? See, each bottle will be gone by the time the book is done.
Doing so well with it. It's just so good.
It is good.
But no,
but you moved the bottle.
This is sorry.
Straight on now.
Sorry.
Kevin's going to get mad.
Kevin will yell at us. Yeah. Sorry. Our editing god. Okay. But it is true when employees don't feel like they can come to you with an idea, or they're going to be like, when a boss is like, that's stupid, that'll never work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I think about especially a lot of businesses, depending on what level, Gen X, they're Gen X, Gen Z. Gen Z and Gen Alpha are hitting the workspace right now.
Wait, I'm so confused.
It's okay.
How old are they?
I mean, 18, most people will hire at 18.
Right? Oh, okay, so they're Gen Alpha.
Yeah, Gen Alpha.
Okay, got it.
And they are fresh with ideas, but they're not necessarily experienced in life. How would they be?
Yeah, no. Well, they're getting it now.
They're getting it now. So, you know, when an employee comes to you and they have an idea, like you have this amazing opportunity to take this young, amazing mind and what you say to them in those, you know, when they come to you, and even though the idea is absolutely maybe ludicrous, right? There's no way it would work from a profitability or strategic. I get it, but how you respond to that can really make or break what they want to do.
Oh, I love those ones, though. I love when I get ideas like that pushed back at me. One of the responses that I really love to do is said, I would love to see that in action. So if it can be put in action without any detriment to the company, do it. Right? That's one. The second one is if it's really a big idea, one of the things I like to do is, can you draw out a few case scenarios of how this would work out?
Make them think through strategy.
Yeah. Can you think it through? You know, the end goal of what you're talking about would be X. Can you draw out a few case scenarios of the end goal being this and how that would play out? And then just go back and forth with dialogue once they present their case study because you're going to have questions.
Absolutely.
And you're going to see blind spots that they didn't see.
Yes.
And so you can dialogue back and forth, but you're not turning them down. You're letting them role play it all the way through.
And they may catch themselves. They're like, oh yeah, that won't work. Or you may realize you've been in a defensive mindset. Or, you know, and they actually, or perfectionism, right? Her shield, the shield that she talked about from before.
I have actually half the time when that's been presented to me have found that I had the blind spot. They found the solution. And once they played everything through, it was actually a viable solution and it was implemented. And so those are the things where I'm saying, go for it. If you have an idea, present it. Now, just like in the next 5 moves, one of the things that I like Patrick Bet-David said is that he needs 3 options. Anyone who's coming to him with a solution to something or a new idea, he doesn't turn them down, but he says, give me 3 solutions or give me 3 different ways this could happen. He says, give me 3 back it up with 3 different ways that your theory is correct.
Right. Yeah. And you got to look not only at the monetary cost of it, but a time cost, people cost. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. There's so many things. So you can, when you launch your own business, you have the ability to kind of disrupt even the culture of what we do, you know, with our employees.
Yes.
And
you make your own culture.
Exciting. You do.
Your own cult.
Sure. Yes. So what we see happening a lot, and I think this is why so many millennials and Gen X, especially Gen Z, are going after their own business, is there's this disengagement divide. And this is where I kind of copied this almost exactly. She says, we disengage to protect ourselves from vulnerability, shame, and feeling lost or without purpose. And so
said every teenager that it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, employees can too. You think about it, you have this ideal, like you come to work somewhere and it's this new shiny new thing and you're excited and you're impassioned. And then the way that your leaders respond can cause disengagement so quickly. And that's why I say when you're launching your own business, you have the chance. But friends, it's not something that comes naturally to us.
Yes.
It isn't. It's something that when you launch your business, you hire people in, this is a conscious decision you have to make every single day, because I guarantee you there's going to be 10 million things running through your head, and you're thinking 5 moves ahead or 20 moves ahead. Yeah. And then here comes this sweet little, 18-year-old, Miss Business Owner lady, I have an idea about this. And you just want to look at them because you've got 10 things going through your mind and you're like, it'll never work. But what that does to them, shuts them down. And not only for within your business, but you don't know the ripple effect of that.
Yeah, that's true.
And I guess being a parent, it really resonates with, what do you do with your employees? Because what I hope for, and my boys have had great experiences with where they've worked, which I'm so grateful for. They've had some really great bosses. But not everybody has had those great bosses. You even said you can think of one great boss when you worked at a corporate level.
Yeah, one. I probably wasn't the easiest employee, though. Just knowing me, that's probably why I opened up a business.
She talks about the disengagement divide. Also, she says we disengage when we feel like people who are leading us aren't living up to their end of the social contract.
Yeah. That's when you start getting the whatever answers. When they go and they tell you something like, okay, whatever.
Absolutely. So she says this is where the gap starts. It's the divide between our practiced values and what we want to aspire to. And this is a privilege of a business owner. With certain, what would they say? What was that movie? It was like a Cinderella spinoff. And they said something along the line of like, with, great power comes great responsibility too.
That was Spider-Man.
Oh, it was in that too. Okay, I was thinking Ever After.
Oh!
Or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, it's so true. Like, it's amazing to open your own business, and it's amazing to just grow it, and you're bringing people in. But you have this privilege of shaping the next business owners.
Yeah, the next generation.
The next generation.
Yeah.
And that's not saying you're only going to hire young people. I mean, you may hire somebody older than you, but this all still applies.
Oh, yeah, I meant the next generation of business leaders.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that doesn't have an age on it.
Not at all. So I really appreciated the concept of the gap, and where are you right now? How do you truly act? Where are you? Maybe if you haven't launched your own business, what are things like at work? Yeah. Where do you want your life to go? Yeah. Or where do you want your business to go? So that what are you doing between here and there?
It can even be applied as far as managerial. Your managers in your stores or your restaurant manager. I mean, all of these concepts and talking about the gap, right? Minding the gap can be explored with your head team.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. And I think it's something that's important. We read in so many other books that, setting your expectations from the beginning. And this is part of that privilege of owning your own business, is you get to create the culture from the ground up. So as you bring in those managers, the expectation of how they interact with the customers too. Yeah. We didn't really dwell on it, but the previous chapter, she talked about how we kind of go through life and we almost ignore, she went to get her nails done and she saw the girl who was getting her nails and toes done on her phone, completely ignoring the nail techs. People going through the grocery line on the phone, ignoring the cashier.
I mean, I've seen it in action where they're on their phone. And I understand, and she even talked about it, where she had to pick up the phone because it was something related to her child. And she had to. But even still, she felt like that anxiety of, I'm being rude at the moment. And she tried to get to the point of the conversation, hang up, and then acknowledge with, I believe it was a cashier.
Yes.
I'm
so sorry.
Yeah.
And what that did for the cashier.
Yeah.
To be recognized as a human.
But I've seen it, and it's just rude. Like, really, they're just on their phone, and they're just like... They don't even nod their head, You're providing a service. You're doing your job. I don't need to acknowledge you for it. And I've seen that exchange. Oh, that irks me. Yes, that irks me because at the end of the day, they're still human beings. They have decided to work this position, but that doesn't dehumanize exactly the service they're providing you.
Because we need every service that's out there.
Yeah.
Doctors are as important as lawyers, are as important as teachers, are as important as, business owners, whether it be retail or food and beverage or service.
Your landscaper, your janitor, your housekeeper, all of them.
Equally important because of what it fuels for our society and for us. So, yes, thank you. I agree with that. So chapter 6, she talks about disruptive engagement. And I love this. She says, Brené defines a leader as anyone who is holding themselves accountable for finding the potential in people.
Yeah.
I got a little teary-eyed with that. Of course I did, right?
Yeah. I like that.
Simon Sinek says, a leader is someone, takes care of the people in their charge. And that's basically what Brené is saying here. When you hold yourself responsible and accountable for finding the potential in people and processes. Leading has nothing to do with puppy paws. They're excited. It is lunch. It is dinner time.
Oh, that's dinner time. Why. Yeah. Here we go. I have to remember to feed them before we start recording.
Leadership has nothing to do with your title, right?
Yeah.
Yes, you're a business owner. That's amazing. And you should feel so good and so proud about that. But to another human being working for you, you're just another human being.
Yeah, you're the one that's writing the checks.
Yes,
that's all it is.
So I really like that. She says on the topic of disruptive innovation, she asked a successful CEO, what is the most significant barrier to innovation?
Okay. I don't think I remember reading that. Okay.
This is, to me, what ties the whole book together.
Okay.
For our clients, our customers, our partners with Saige Consultants, right? Those of you who are wanting to launch your own business. So what is the most significant barrier to innovation? Because that's what we business owners need. We have to innovate constantly.
Okay.
Right. Businesses that don't innovate.
Yeah, they stagnate.
They stagnate and fail or close or end, right? Somebody named Kevin from Serious Materials said, it's the fear of introducing an idea and being ridiculed and laughed at. So basically, it's the fear of messing up, doing something wrong.
Well, it's like that.
Vulnerability.
Yeah, the vulnerability. We said about the open door policy, right?
Yep.
Coming with new ideas and get shut down.
Yeah. Shame breeds fear. Fear thereby killing engagement, innovation, and creativity, and trust.
Yeah.
So this whole book, Daring Greatly, she really pulls it together. And if you're running your own business, launching your own business, or a leader within a business anywhere, whether it's a privately owned business or a corporate, this is the critical part of how we treat each other, how we treat ourselves, is what can cause kind of the downfall of businesses. And I think about some of the businesses that I work for that I was really empowered for. Like, I was just excited and I loved working for them. It was the ones that constantly asked for feedback, who took customer and associate opinions and suggestions and put it into action, or at least communicated where it was at within that.
Or acknowledged
it, absolutely. And this can be done so many different ways. You're opening your own business. You have your own business. You have employees that you're responsible for. Amazing. In this particular chapter, which is all around business, Brené offers what she says is 4 strategies for building a shame-resilient organization.
Let's hear it.
Love this. Okay. It is, number 1, having leaders who are willing to dare greatly and facilitate honest conversations.
Okay.
Right. And that can be from the leaders from the top down saying, you know what, this is a challenge we're having in the business. What do you guys think? And a lot of times we end up hiring some of our best customers. So when we reach out, pumpkin plan this.
Yeah, exactly.
Reach out to some of your employees who have been your best customers and say, you know what, I am struggling with this. You don't need to have the shield on of perfection. You don't have to have the shield on of serpentining around and avoiding this. Walk into work and say, you know what, yes, I own this, but I don't know what to do with this situation.
I had something similar happen in our business where sales were dipping down and we needed to make budget cuts. And, I was I needed to make a decision of either we had to let someone go, or the deficit monthly was a certain amount of money. And when I went and I spoke with my operations manager at the time, I was letting her know, listen, this is what's going on. So we're going to have to make some cuts. And, we could do this, which would be cutting someone, and that would make the cut. Or we could do some other things. And I kind of asked her what she thought. And she's like, well, why don't we share it with the team?
Oh my gosh.
Why don't we share what's going on with the team and see what they come up with? Mm-hmm. And my team came back and they said, well, they were united front, and they just said, we'll all take a couple hours a week. They're going to take a couple hours a week off.
They said this?
Yeah, they did it.
So instead of you saying it,
they said it. They came back and they said, we'll take a couple hours
chills.
Here. They said, we'll reduce, like little things, like we'll reduce on the kitchen supplies for the pantry or the office. We'll find better vendors if we get packaging a little bit cheaper.
That's incredible.
And that came from the suggestion of my operations manager, but it also was the trust that we knew that everyone cared for our company. And so they came in and said, we want the company to flourish. We can do this. We'll make cuts here, there.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Like, talk about, this is a huge testament to you of stepping into the arena.
Yeah. I had to be vulnerable for shit. I mean,
for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you also reached to your team, right? Like, you were honest.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Powerful.
But I also trusted them.
Sure. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Right? They knew that you had their best interest in mind, and you knew they had your businesses and yours.
Yeah.
Of course. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Okay, guys. Hashtag business goals right there. Second is have a conscientious effort to see where shame might be functioning. Right? So had you maybe just gone in and implemented things on your own and not allowed your operations manager to speak up, that's a form of shame.
Yeah.
Or shame on yourself, too, when you're just, I can handle this. I got this. I'm going to make this decision. This will solve everything.
Yeah, because it's I felt a certain amount of shame that I had to say this.
Sure.
But
wow.
I had to get over myself, too. Mm-hmm. I didn't know the answer. I knew the answer. We needed to reduce by this much money.
So how do you do it? And you get the team's buy-in with it. That's powerful.
Thank you.
My goodness. Third, help people know what to expect, what are struggles, and how to deal with them, which is honest. That's exactly to the T what you did.
Yeah. It is. I think, though, one of the things that helped me is that I was always very open with them about things that were going on. And then having we had quarterly meetings and letting them know, what's going on. And don't get me wrong. Years ago, I would always, everything's good. It's great. We're making tons of hand over fist. Well, the mask. But then it didn't serve me.
No.
It actually put more pressure on me. Made me feel worse because that wasn't the truth. And then what ends up happening is now you're putting more masks to cover up the old ones. And then you break. Then you break.
And then she says, training all employees with the differences between shame and guilt. And I mean, she really digs in. We didn't dig into this a lot, but she does spend some time explaining shame versus guilt. And it's something that you own versus something you adapt as part of your entity.
Yeah.
Right? We all are going to make mistakes. But when that mistake becomes part of our identity. And that's where it spirals down.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
So she just talks about really, as leaders, being comfortable with hard feedback.
Yeah.
And learn how to give and receive feedback in a way. And I think the way that you walked into your business and said, here's our challenge. What can we do about it? That was a really loving way to give feedback.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about it like that. Yeah.
I mean, right? So she wraps up her book, at least the business part of it, with what she calls the Daring Greatly Leadership Manifesto. And this is basically the mantra, or what you would say, your commitment.
Yeah, commitment, mission, mantra, yeah.
Absolutely. And it's that we want to show up, we want to learn, and we want to inspire. Mm-hmm. I think as business owners, if that isn't part of, and we talk about this, you can't open a business because you want to buy yourself a yacht or a mansion.
Yeah, no.
You have to.
It's more than that.
Yes. Good luck getting your community to support that.
Yeah, it has to be more than that.
But when you want to open your business because you want to do something for your community, you want to do something for a culture or anything. There's so many platforms that you can serve when opening a business that, yes, a business needs to make money. Let's not shortchange that at all. If you're not making money, then how can you employ people? And that's truly, what a business should do as well.
It is, but the money is the byproduct.
Yes.
Right? Your mission, your commitment, your mantra, whatever you want to call it, that's first, your why, right? And then as you are pushing the boundaries around your why, right? When I say pushing your boundaries, you're selling a product that's embodied by your why, and then pushing the boundaries of selling that product. The money will be just flowing in hand over fist as a byproduct of doing what you love. That's within.
Yep.
I just tapped it.
Clink, 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 clink. Yes, but absolutely. And then she says we are hardwired for connection, curiosity, and engagement, which is so true. No man is an island. Yeah, we humans need each other. We crave purpose, and we have a deep desire to create and contribute.
Yes, we do.
We want to take risk, embrace our vulnerabilities, and be courageous.
Yep.
Say that till you believe it. When learning and working are dehumanized, when you no longer see us and no longer encourage our daring, or when you only see what we produce, not how we perform, that's when disengagement happens. She says that's when we disengage and turn away from the very thing that the world needs from us. And it's so true. We humans, look at what we've done. Holy cow.
I know.
It's amazing. And we're not done yet.
I know. Technology, especially in the last 50 years. Wow.
And I'm a conspiracy theorist. So all of the things, we're not even going back 5,000 years. Let's go back those 30,000 years. Conspiracy theory. Get my tinfoil hat. We ask that you engage with us, show up beside us, and learn from us. I love that. That's what your people want from you. They want you to engage with them, show up with them, and learn from them because they have an opinion.
They do. They're learning from you equally as you are learning from them.
Absolutely. Feedback is a function of respect. When you don't have honest conversations with your team, with your community, then you're not going to gain information about your strengths and opportunities. You won't be able to grow, and you're going to make your team question their own contributions.
Yeah.
And above all else, we ask that you show up, let yourself be seen and be courageous, and dare to be greatly with us.
Yeah, that was a long-winded mission statement, but yes.
But powerful.
Yeah, it was
especially
powerful.
When you have your business has grown, you are now responsible for people.
Yeah.
In your care.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So cheers to you as a business owner, an entrepreneur. You're thinking about doing it. You have done it. You are doing it. Cheers to you.
Yeah.
Be vulnerable, but also take care of those.
Yeah. Take care of those in your, charge.
Yeah.
In
absolutely.
Your charge.
Yeah. And dare greatly. So.
Good one, Brené. Thank you very much.
Very good one, Brené. And thank you, anonymous person in Texas.
From the Tower Vodka clan.
All right, you all. Listen, amazing book, super powerful. We are working on growing this community. If you feel like this was inspirational to you, helpful to you, please like and subscribe is awesome. But when you share this, that is so powerful.
That helps us out even more.
Please, please. Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
And while you're sharing, grab a good book,
get some awesome booze,
and get an amazing buddy to
share
it with. All right, y'all. Cheers. Thank you.
Slurp, slurp.
Slurp.